See this? That's what happens when you watch Neil take on Austin Goolsbee. The budget battle already heating up in Washington, with Democrats crying foul over what they're calling massive cuts to social programs, including a White House proposal for a work requirement for food stamps to help root out fraud. It's something that Bill Clinton did back in '96. Is it something that we need now? Former GOP Congresswoman Nan Hayworth thinks so. Not so fast, says Democratic strategist Michael Starr Hopkins. Nan, to you first. Sure. Why not? There are already work requirements for individuals after 3 months if they don't have children, if they want to get food stamps.
They're able-bodied.
Right.
They can't. You know, Dagan, this is one of those issues that it's a glancing blow at the real problem, which is much deeper and much bigger. And I do actually sympathize with those who say, look, this isn't going to do much. I don't think it's unreasonable to push the point that, you know, we need these programs not to be abused. But and by the same token, what needs to be emphasized is, look, we're doing this because we want to get people back to work. And the emphasis on the part of the administration should be that we're trying to rationalize a budget that's very hard to rationalize, a federal budget that's out of control. We can only work with about a third of it. And the idea is that we put people back to work so that they can afford to have the food they want and not rely on aid.
I do know this, Michael. There are 16 million more people on food stamps today than back in 2008. And people understand people needing food stamps, particularly during an economic crisis, but the economy has been growing. During the Obama administration, we did recover from that Great Recession, so why not dial those numbers back to where they were before the economic collapse?
This is going to come as a surprise to a lot of people, but I actually agree with you. I think we can find a happy medium here. Yeah. I think we can put people back to work, and I think we can also have a social safety net that ensures when people hit hard times that we make sure that they're okay, that their basic needs are met, because I, like many of my Republican counterparts, believe thereby the grace of God go I.
Well, then why do many of the Democrats act? I mean, we've heard the language that you literally are going to kill children, that you're going to starve children by reducing the number of, or trying to reduce the number of people on just by putting in work requirements who receive food stamps in this country.
Because I think that this budget lays out some very misconstrued, or rather misleading theories on how SNAP works. So over 60% of all SNAP benefits suffer, or rather SNAP recipients suffer from some type of mental illness, a physical illness, and aren't able to enter the workplace again after leaving it. And by the way that this budget works, it's going to end up cutting $1.2 billion from the transportation budget, which is how we go about rebuilding roads and infrastructure. It's going to cut $9.2 billion from education, which is how we go about teaching our kids.
But you know what, Donald Trump, the President Trump, has fallen into something that a problem that the Democrats also face. When you refuse to touch Social Security and Medicare, and reduce those numbers, that you're left to work with paltry little. Of a $4.1 trillion budget, after the increase in defense spending, you've only got $1.6 billion left, and the cuts have got to come somewhere.
Right, exactly, and I agree with Michael as well. This is a great segment for us.
Right?
But you know,
well, I wanted you to fight, but
we got some time.
It's irrational. But Dagan, you're exactly right. And it gets to the point that if we don't have meaningful entitlement reform, we are just playing around the edges of a situation that is unsustainable at almost every level. And the reason President Trump approached it as he did, and I know this from having been in Congress, in a swing district no less, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to say to folks that we're going to try to reform these programs on which they now depend. You know, the economics of these programs is not something American people tend to understand, and it's politically very difficult.
But the issue is, like, when people talk about all these cuts, this budget merely slows the growth in spending. The federal budget was $2.8 trillion 10 years ago, and now it's north of $4 trillion. Just to say we can't keep on this path without it bankrupting this nation, that's what this budget does. does.
Let me unpack that. So there's a couple things going on. First, President Trump's budget, it's not going to get passed. Let's not kid ourselves. Republicans, I actually feel bad for them right now because when you couple the health care bill with this bill, it's really going to hurt them over the summer, and when it comes time for 2018, it's going to hurt them as well. But more importantly, our deficit has been increasing because of the recession before it, because of the unfunded mandates, because of the Iraq war not actually being funded. It's
I'll just end on this. The national debt doubled under President Obama.
Exactly.
So raising taxes and then...
He threw gasoline on the fire.
Right, exactly. Nan, it was great to see you. Congresswoman Nan Hayworth and Michael Starr Hopkins. See, unity.
See,
doesn't happen in D.C.
We can do it.